think that one of the most important things that I can tell you this morning is that you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Think about that. Because it's really important how you present yourself when you go to look for a job. So there's only one chance to make the first impression. The first impression should be the impression that you lead with and the impression that you live with. Secondly, dress for success. You go to interview, be sure that you dress appropriately, and it doesn't mean you have to have the finest clothing. Be sure if you have a shirt, be sure it's pressed. $2.50 you can do a nice pressed shirt, and then it goes with jeans or anything else, or a blouse or a dress or whatever. You can wear a sport coat or a suit. Depends on where you're applying. That would be great too. But I think the most important part, and I've been doing this for 30 years, employing people and discharging people. The most important thing is to prepare for the interview. And to do that, you need to know as much about the place that you're going to interview with as you can. You feel. Internet these days and websites, you should look at what the employer, first thing you'd like to be employed by, and get as much information about that organization as you possibly can. If they don't have a website, maybe you know somebody that works there or has worked there, and you can find out about the organization that way. I hate for people to walk in and say, I'm here to interview, and know nothing about what they're interviewing for, except that they saw that we had on our website or our HR posting. And some of them just aren't suited to be there. You can be real silver-tongued, and you can talk yourself into a job. And I've met people over the years that can do that. But you have to remember, when you get the job, you have to do it. And you have to be able to do what's required of that job. And if it's not with your skill set or it's not with your knowledge base, you will not be there long. And then you have on your resume, on your CV, you have a very short employment history, and that never looks good to an employer who's looking at that resume or that CV. And second to that, I guess, is the culture of the organization that you're applying to. If you can find out anything about the culture of that organization, that would be great too. What type of organization is it? What type of employees? What does it do? What does that organization produce, or what kind of services do they provide? Culture is important because if your values aren't aligned with the culture of the organization, you're probably not going to be happy there. They're probably not going to be happy with you. So if you get cross purposes with an organization because your values are different than theirs, then you will have problems and probably employment elsewhere. And then if you get right down to what I like to see in an interview when I interview somebody, I want to know about their dependability. I want to look through their CV or their resume and see how dependable they've been. In the healthcare business, if you have a nurse that doesn't come to work when she's supposed to or comes to work late, that means it throws the whole shift off of the next shift. Somebody has to stay over, you have to pay overtime. You're inconveniencing other people. So be dependable, be on time when you go to work, and be sure that you stay the time that you're supposed to. And you might cut out a class, or you might cut out something else. You can't cut out a job early unless you want to leave that position. And then take an initiative. Be creative. When you get in there, talk about the things that you can do, have done, and use real life examples, and get illustrations of some of those things and how you did them. If you have accomplishments, be sure you can explain those accomplishments. Just not, I put it in place, this or that. The employer wants to know how you put that in place, what thought processes you used, how were the outcomes, not just that it was done, but how was it done, so they can assess your ability to reason, your ability to be creative, and your ability to implement. And then another one is time management. That's important for all of us. I still have problems with that. I've been working for years. But time management. Things today call for so many different various types of skills and skill sets, and jobs have related responsibilities to other departments that you need to be able to do what you need to do on time and when you need to do it. Procrastinating, it will get you behind the 8 ball real quick. So you just want to move early as possible when these type of tasks get given to you that you start preparing for. You can just do it a bit at a time. Often I have to take a fairly large project and decide I'm going to do this much of it in the next 3 days, or I'm going to do this in the next 3 months. I'm going to have this program in place in 6 months or what, and start working a little bit each day, accomplishing a piece of that each day. So, in closing, let me say that in interviewing and being employed are two different things. You want to be interviewed, you want to put your best foot forward for that job. And to do that, you want to be reasonably aware of what you're applying for, and you have to be able to persuade the person that you're the best person for the job. And being employed, it's easy to get a job, like I said, but you have to keep it. So you need all those other skills like time management, being able to be a good communicator, and being able to fulfill the job that you have. So thank you for letting me speak to you this morning, and best wishes